that as you go out and you're supporting music, that you know that black music doesn't just look one way. It's not just one thing. And so many of us have struggled with that. And so many of us have struggled with the idea of what is black music? What is R&B? What is rock and roll? What is folk music? What is gospel music? What does that mean to people? And at the bottom line is that we as a people, what we create cannot be duplicated. What we create has changed the course of music and world history. What we create has saved lives. And so if we begin to stop categorizing ourselves, if we accept our music in all its forms and all the ways that our artists look, other people will do the same. And at the end of the day, who really cares what other people think as long as we support it? So we support our own. Am I right? Right here at Kindred Presents, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yep.
Can I get an oh yeah? One more time. Can I get an oh yeah? I love it.
How many of y'all knew that June is actually called Black Music Month? And this is actually the 40th anniversary of Black Music Month, and that the mother and father of Black Music Month, the people who basically, championed to get this month made and called Black Music Month are Philadelphians, Mr. Kenny Gamble and Miss Deanna Williams.
Indeed.
Are you guys familiar with
y'all
that?
give it up.
So a lot of respect and love for their determination in their work and their continual support of the culture and the arts here in the city and abroad. And we are pleased to have so much diverse black music this evening.
Yes, indeed.
And in speaking to that, black music is in lots of different forms and comes in different places. We come from what you most of you guys know as the neo-soul era.
Yes.
Here in the Philly soul scene.
That was us.
And the early 2000s, a lot of great artists who you've come to love and come to know came from out of this city and around different musicians and producers and different things who contributed to a lot of the great products that came from us. But everything that was coming out during that time was not necessarily just deemed to be neo-soul. And our next guest,
yes,
we like to believe, just much like that Black Alley calls themselves hood rock.
Indeed.
With a go-go influence. This young lady was taking things to another level in the early 2000s. She goes by the name of RES. I don't know how many of you guys know who RES is.
You better.
But
and you're about to find out if you don't.
She's an incredible artist, and she made some great contributions in that early time and has continued to make great contributions in the past few years, but has had some slowdowns and as well. And she's going to come out here and talk to you guys a little bit about it and give you some music as well. So if you're ready to meet and speak to Miss RES, somebody say, yeah! All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to introduce you to RES.
Y'all give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Give me this hug, y'all.
Good.
How you doing? You looking good?
Thank you. So are you?
Welcome to Kindred Presents, and thank you for coming out and hanging with us today.
It's my first time.
I love it. You're a Philly girl.
Yeah, I'm a Philly, suburban Philly girl.
Okay. Well, tell me, what's the Philliest thing about you? Or the Philliest area? See, I'm from DC. We say that. When you from outside the city, we say you from the area.
Well, Well,
so what Philly or Philly area thing is about you?
I guess for me, to put it all out there, I first lived in like 57th and Chester Avenue, like in Southwest, when I was a baby,
she's a real Philly girl.
Yeah, right. And then my parents, they did good, and they were like, okay, we're moving on up. And then we moved out to the mainline area.
Hey.
Right?
Did your daddy own some cleaners?
Well, he was, God rest his soul, he's not here with us any longer, but he was an entrepreneur. So he was the guy that owned the corner store on 23rd and Turner in North Philly, Ridge Avenue. In the Sharswood area, they call it now.
All right.
Right near Blumberg Projects. Like we were, my parents owned corner stores. That's what we did.
dope.
So I worked in corner stores.
Black-owned corner stores.
Growing
wow.
up.
That's not what's happening right now.
That is
Come
what's
on
happening.
with
We keep in our stores. So I worked in them growing up, like since I was honestly like 6 years old. It's like bad labor laws, but yeah, I was the kid at the corner store, like, give me my nickel for that Swedish fish. Give me that. You know what I mean?
When I met Fatim, he
Candy.
worked his father's corner store where he
you
used to
did?
sell nickel candy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about bringing it back too. You know?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, we should talk. We
We
should
still got
talk.
the property. We might
He
do
used to
something
call
else.
me in the morning early when he would open up.
Why you gotta get on me? Don't tell
I
them
bragged.
anything
Hold on, I
about
gotta tell you this. I bragged to my mother. I said, "Mom, I met this man. He calls me early in the morning." She said,
word.
"Baby, that's because he's trying to see if anyone is at your house."
That's a good
I was like, "Oh,
like that.
okay." Well, anyway, how does a 6-year-old girl
Right.
from 57th Street to the main line,
Right.
end up connected to MCA Records, doing music, making records?
Well, I just love to sing, you know, and I think that's the thing that led me to this point, you know, even today. Like, I had just family friends. It was just my destiny. When I read my bio and I read back, and you know, I think of all the things that I've been through. Yes, it seems like that's the only thing you were going to be is a singer. But while I was doing it, I had no idea. It was very natural. So growing up, I just loved to sing. So my parents were like, okay, we want to get you going, doing what you want to do. And if you like to sing, then we're going to try to, you know, send you to Settlement Music School. And so I went there when I was a kid, you know, stuff like that. So when my parents saw something in me, they just tried to nurture it and give me all the tools that I need to be successful. So it was just one of those things, you know, singing, playing tennis, going to school, like it just was one of those things. And I just never stopped singing. Yeah. And it led to me meeting Santa Gold, who is Santi White, who's from Philly as well. Our parents are friends. You know, her dad was a lawyer and my dad needed a lawyer, and that's why we were family friends, you know.
This is
One
some
hand
black.
washes the other. You know.
This is some black excellence that's going on here.
Right?
It's like if if Lionel hooked up with the Cosbys.
It was kind of like
We are our own greatest resource. We
It
just got to keep it
was.
in the family.
Yes, indeed. I like
Yeah.
this. I like the story.
I'm glad you mentioned Santi because I was going to say, I read this quote and it said, Reese and Santi Gold walked so SZA and Lizzo could fly. You laid down like a serious blueprint for many of these artists who have come after you. Do you feel that you get the credit for that, or if not, is that frustrating?
No, I feel like I do get the credit because I feel like my peers know my music. They like my music. They let me know. You know, just the other day I was at Jazzy Jeff's studio. He has this thing called playlist sessions and playlist retreat. So shout out to Jazzy Jeff for even doing that. And you know, it's just an environment where artists can come and just collaborate and do music. And I went up there and I met Eric Robinson. And I'm gonna open up for him. You know, this is a shameless plug, but July 12th,
Plug it.
12th, I will be at Arbor Music Hall, so you should come see us perform. And so I see Eric, and he's like telling me, like giving me great compliments, and I had no idea. You know, I like his music, he likes my music, but beyond that, you just never know how you influence other artists and how they influence you, and just to hear it is a blessing. So I feel like I get my props, like person to person, you know, and we all end up meeting, you know. Somehow, whether it's on the road or at Jazzy Jeff's house or you know, something like this, you know, you end up connecting with people in the scene, and Philly people let you know, like East Coast people let you know.
They definitely do.
So I feel the love.
Have you met Ari Lennox?
I haven't, not yet.
Just a few days ago, she and her boyfriend were like, they had your song playing in the background on the
What?
Instagram clip.
I had no idea.
So they playing
I mean,
homage.
it's
They
reaching.
paying homage to
In
Reese.
fact,
Tell 'em I said
a very popular blog. Many of you probably have read it many times. Come down Facebook is Very Smart Brothers. Anybody read that blog? So they did a whole tribute to How I Do, which is your first album, and he talked about his experience, how that tied in with music discovery. One of the elements of that blog that I think is interesting that I want to ask you about is he talks about discovering your album weekly, going out to record stores, you know, these places where people used to sell CDs
Records,
at.
music.
Long
He would
gone.
go into
They're
the record
few and far
stores,
between.
and he would just buy tons of records for $9.99, 5, 6 CDs at one time. And that's how he discovered your album.
Nice.
And he said he kept it in his car for a year and a half and just listened to it back to back to back. Now, I'm tying this into a question for you. The idea here is that, and I talked a little bit about this with Black Alley. At that time, that's how people were discovering your music.
Right.
They were discovering your music in the ways in which we all grew up discovering music.
Record stores.
But now the situation is so much different. And yet you have embraced this. And I love how you have embraced social media and the new ways in which people go about making records and helping people discover their music. So how have you made that transition?
Well, I want to tell everybody, if you don't know, the album that she's talking about is called How I Do. And it came out in 2001, like years ago, but it's very, I don't know. It's just
a classic.
It's a classic, and it just,
I
don't know, keeps giving good love and good vibes to everybody. Because I meet people every so often that just heard it, for the first time. But I encourage you guys to go out and listen to it. But yeah, I think, the music industry has completely changed. When I came out at first, the early 2000s, the internet was not where it's at right now. Like, people still were not getting signed from having a lot of hits on YouTube or social media. That didn't even exist. So it was more, for me, I feel like it was kind of more of an authentic way of becoming a fan, listening to music. You went to the record store, the person that worked there that told you about the bomb record 2 weeks ago was like, yo, you got to get this, and they had it at the front and they gave it to you. And it was a whole relationship that you had. And I think that's gone. We don't have many record stores. There are a few. There's one, I think, on like 49th in Baltimore. There's, one on like South Street, like little niche stores. So you should definitely go out and support. But it's not as, now it's about the playlist. It's like, oh, this song, not about a whole album. I still want to make albums, you know? So.
Yeah. Speaking of albums, also, too, you did an offering, which I thought was so forward-thinking. Well, not necessarily forward-thinking. It was awesome, but not something people would expect from a Black woman.
Right.
And definitely not someone who may have been tied to the neo-soul genre, which wasn't necessarily a fair title for you, but something that did happen at the time.
You kind of got lumped in a little bit.
Yeah. You did a full cover album in tribute to Fleetwood Mac, to Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, Stevie
Oh
Nicks.
my gosh. I have to admit to you, I had never listened to it. And I listened to it, and it is really amazing.
Oh, I'm glad
you
liked
did
it.
an amazing job. In fact, I read some of the reviews on this record, and they literally called it a work of art. She channeled Stevie Nicks in a way that I felt was unique and did justice to her voice as well. I think you elevated it. So what made you even decide to do that?
Well, a lot of people just told me that my voice kind of sounded like Stevie Nicks. And I think it's more of like a raspy thing or something, or just the genre that I like to sing, which is, I like R&B, rock. I like a lot of different stuff. But she writes great songs. They're timeless. I got with Tom Spiker. This is a producer and great guitar player, producer that lives in Philly. He lives like right around the corner from Silk City. We would get together, listen to the song for the day. We tried to figure out what classic Stevie Nicks song we could use, and we could, just make it our own. Because it's hard. You don't want to take like Landslide. Landslide is one of her famous songs.
Right.
That's so epic that I'm not trying to compete with Stevie Nicks. I just want to, channel it and kind of just expose it to people who never heard it before. There's a lot of people who haven't heard of Stevie Nicks, and I got to expose them to that music, so that felt great.
Fantastic.
Well, while the rest of us were incorporating 70s soul sounds into our music, you were using the elements of rock and experimental sounds to make a completely different vibe. Did it at all make you feel like an outcast at any time during that period?
That's a good question, because I definitely, Philly has a lot of cliques and has but not in just music, but just in general, for what you do or what kind of music you like, or if you like comedy, if you like this, that. And I definitely felt that vibe, but I also felt good that I was doing something new and something different, and not something that 5 other people were tapping into, So I like to be different. I don't ever like to have the same thing everybody else has on at the time, I like the type of music I like. I'm just one of those people that stands in my own skin very well. So,
Beverly Bond has this thing called Black Girls Rock. Are you guys familiar with Black Girls Rock? Your second album was called Black Girls Rock. Am I correct?
Yes, it was.
Did Beverly Bond pay you to use Black Girls Rock? How did that work out? I always wanted to know that, because yours came first.
Right.
Am I correct?
I think so. I don't even care. I don't know if it came first or not.
I'm not trying to start any trouble. I'm just asking.
It felt a little messy.
I didn't mean it in a messy way, but I just meant
a soft mess, not a big mess.
I just want to know.
Just left your sock on the floor.
Clarify.
That's all it was. It's a little messy.
You know, Philly did it first. Beverly, just let you know.
Right, Philly's first. Like it's a whole mentoring program, and there's also Black Women's Rock in Detroit. So I think it's just at that time we were feeling like, you know, everyone's on the same wavelength. Sometimes, you know, that's how movements start. That's what I was saying.
Switch mics here.
Yeah, we will.
Did we switch?
Switch that mic real fast. We wanted to ask you, you know, we know you did do a group with Talib Kweli called Idol Warship, correct?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
And you guys, you know, put out a record, one record or two records?
We put out a mixtape, and we put out a mixtape, and then we put out one album called Habits of the Heart, a party robot mixtape, and maybe like a couple other songs on different soundtracks.
Right.
And then I also had stuff, just solo music that I did with him.
Right.
Because we were working together for a long time, like at least like 15 years.
And unfortunately, that relationship came to a close, and we wanted to ask you because it was kind of a public scenario going on, and some people might be familiar with it. Where do things stand right now between you guys?
Well, you know, to make a long story short, we had a situation where we just didn't agree. And I think sometimes you have to actually go to court. You know, I don't believe in going to court with people that I've been friends with for years or people that I've worked with. I always think that we can talk. When someone else doesn't feel that way, you're not going to have a conversation. The next thing, you know, some people feel like you have to go into court. I don't ever believe that. But right now, we're at a place where, honestly, I think it might be even almost dissolved because there's no action happening. Sometimes I think people sue you just because they can. You know, I think sometimes things become emotional, and then people, you know, start getting technical with it, and it's like at the end of the day, if this is not making money, it ain't making sense, and now it's costing more money to do this. It's like, you know, time has gone by. You know, I think we're just at a point where now I actually want to go to court because I'm like, okay, I will at least get to the bottom of it.
Well, we obviously, you know, love both of the music that you guys make, and you know, we want to make sure that it's from a community standpoint that everything comes together. So we're gonna be sending you positive vibes in that way, and hopefully that will come together. I know people want to hear some music, but I do want to ask you this: something kind of unexpected happened to you. Many of you all may know this or may not, that Kindred Family, so we actually do quite well in the city of Chicago. And we do well there because there's a very popular dance there called stepping. And somebody made a song about it. We won't talk about it. Everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? So we went out to Chicago and we did a run that we typically do. And we found out that RES had the #1 record in Chicago with the steppers community, and that the folks was getting it in. And we thought this was so dope. So how did you come up? I mean, were you shocked? Did you do this on purpose? Did it just happen out of nowhere?
I was completely shocked, but I did this song very much on purpose. I was luckily, you know, my mentor, his name is Wawa Watson. He passed away a few months ago. He's an amazing guitar player, funk brother from Detroit. And we had a chance to work together. We both lived in New York. We met on the Maxwell tour. I opened up for Maxwell years ago, and he was playing guitar. They do a lot of music together. So he co-produced a record for me. It's called For Who You Are. And it became a stepper classic. You know, people started dancing to it. The DJs got to it. And they just kept on going and going and going. And then the next thing I know, I was at a Majestic Gents event in Chicago with Pete Frazier.
That's the event.
Right?
The Majestic Gents.
Right. And,
but I think this is so beautiful because it speaks to the diversity of Black music.
Yes,
Here
absolutely.
you have very much the Gator set. Y'all know what I mean when I say the Gator set.
Right.
This was the Gator set.
Right.
And
Linen
here
suits.
you have, you know, our favorite Philly hood rock princess who was singing for the Gator set, and it was rocking.
It was rocking. Chicago loves good music. They love great house music. They love good dance music, stepper music. You know,
Hip-hop.
hip hop, rock, R&B. They like everything. So that's one of the few places you can do whatever you want in one concert. I've done, you know, stepper songs. I've done my rock stuff and house stuff in one set, and it's just rocking. Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's that's all Black music.
Well, much like Chicago, here you can do anything you want to, and we would love for you to do what you want.
Yes.
tonight.
I appreciate that.
So, without further ado, we're going to ask the band to step back up to the bandstand and give you some accompaniment. And ladies and gentlemen, please make another joyful noise for Sister Reese. And be on the lookout
Let's
for
give it that
everything
real
that
Philly
she
welcome.
has
Let's turn it up, y'all.
coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Reese.
So we're gonna do a little bit of this song called Golden Boys. It's from my first album, How I Do. And then we're gonna get into For Who You Are. And if you guys step, then I invite you to get it in. You guys ready? Golden Boys. Why are you selling dreams of who you wish you could be? A prince in all of the magazines. They have no words for the man I've seen. You talk real fast before they see your face. And would they love you if they knew all the things we know? We got these images, we need them to be true. Not ready to believe we're no more insecure than you. But then there's girls like me who sit appalled by what we've seen. We know the truth about you. Now you're the prince of all the magazines. That is a dangerous thing. Now will they love you if they knew all the things that we know? Those golden boys are all the fraud, don't believe their show. Now will they love you if they knew all the things that we know? Golden boys like ain't a video. But then there's girls like sit appalled by what we see. We know the truth about you. Now you're the prince of all the magazines. That is a dangerous thing, golden boy. I'll place you in these robes and tell you you're the greatest man. If you believe and play your cards, got dealt a winning hand. Don't you get tired of the show, the kiss and ass of all the people that you wanna know. Cause when I was young, I thought you had it won. I saw you on TV, you made life look fun. Years go by and people grow. I realize it's all a freak show. But then there's girls like me who sit appalled by what we've seen. We know the truth about you. Now you're the prince of all the magazines. That is a dangerous thing. Now will they love you if they knew all the things that we know? Those golden boys are all the fraud, don't believe their show. Now will they love you if they knew all the things that we know? Golden boy, life ain't a video. But then there's girls like me. Oh yeah, there's girls like me. Oh yeah, there's girls like me. Oh yeah, 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 there's girls like me. Oh yeah, there's girls like me who sit upon what we see. We know the truth about you. Now you're the prince of all the magazines. That is a dangerous thing. Golden, 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 golden boy. We know the truth about you. We know the truth about you and you and you. Oh, golden, golden, golden boy. We know the truth about you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. used to be one of my best friends, someone I really love to talk to. When my day was coming to an end, but I know we had to grow apart, but I never knew things would get so hard, and I'll always love you for who you are. See, I don't blame you for running. I never seen the dark places you've been. So please, can you tell me something? Like what it'll take to make it ours again. See, I don't blame you for running. I never seen the dark places you've been. So please, can you tell me something? Like what it'll take to make it ours again, darling. Everybody knows that I'm right, but I hate myself for not letting go, for putting up such an emotional fight. It leads to rejection, then suppression, then mistaken conversation. Oh, then I'm so tired. I've been so tried, but to make things worse, I pull it all inside. People come and then they go, and I know we had to grow apart, but I never knew things would get so hard, and I'll always love you for who you are. One more time. See, I don't blame you for running. I never seen the dark places you've been. So please, can you tell me something? Like what it'll take to make it ours again. See, I don't blame you for running. I never seen the dark places you've been. So please, can you tell me something? Like what it'll take to make it ours again. I know we had to grow apart, but I never knew things would get so hard, and I'll always love you, oh, for who you are. One more time. I know we had to just grow apart, but I never knew things would get so hard, and I'll always love you for who you are.
Reese, ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for. Hey, yeah. Who you are.
Try my little step move with you.
Who you are. Yeah.
We stepping. You know I got 2 left feet, but you know we gonna make it work. Yeah. That's a jam, Reese. That's a jam.
Thanks. Reese, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
If you guys haven't figured it out, that was the Steppers cut. Yes, indeedy.
Yes.
I just love us. I love how we're able to do so many things.
Mm-hmm.
It warms my heart.